So, I just want to say thank you to all the people who have supported my efforts over the years. You've made it somewhat tolerable. I mean, even though the world is just getting worse and worse and worse, and ignorance is at an all-time high. I talk about it with friends and, people who are close to me about the ignorance level of humanity. And it's hard for me to believe sometimes. It really is. That I think we were in a better situation 9 years ago, even more than 9 years ago, than we are today. I think people were waking up more en masse back in the years 2005, 6, 7, shortly after the 9/11 false flag ritual murder event, than they are today, because the mainstream media quadrupled its effort to brainwash the populace. And now you have people today who actually believe the mainstream media is trying to tell them anything resembling the truth. They're so ensconced in the dialectic. They're pitted at each other. There's all kinds of divides in humanity with people fighting against each other instead of actually fighting their enslavers, that it's a sad situation. And, it makes me question the actual, good that all of what on earth is happening has been able to accomplish sometimes. It's like, sometimes I think, why bother when the world is getting far more ignorant by the day? And, there's people who tell me, oh, have heart, the world's waking up, people are getting it, people are waking up. I'm sorry, folks, I don't see it. I don't see people with the level of knowledge that someone like myself has. I just don't. And I don't care whether you think that's an arrogant thing to say or not. I know what I know. I know what I've taken in. I know what I've studied about the world. I know how accurate my conclusions are that I've come to. And I know where other people's mindset is at, because you could just tell by talking to them just for a few minutes. You could tell whether people have any kind of semblance of real knowledge or whether they're buying the mainstream narrative on just about everything, And I'm telling you, people now are not only comfortable in their ignorance, they're smug in their ignorance. They love knowing nothing and then want to tell people that their feelings and their, opinions are just as good as someone else's hard-won knowledge, And I'm personally sick of it. And I really have to say to my watching audience, this is a failure on all of our part. That's what it really is. It's a failure on our part. We have not reached out to people efficiently and effectively. We have not done the work. People have remained silent. I can't tell you how many people come up to me at events that I speak at or anywhere else for that matter and say, I feel like I have a firm grip on this, but there's something holding me back from teaching it to other people. I'm not ready. As if I ever was. Somebody had to say to me, hey, get up off your ass. Stop thinking that you have a right to sit on all of this knowledge and do something with it. Somebody had to say that to me in harsh terms. They had to come right out and say, you are actually causing harm by not doing something and putting the information back out there into the world. You're actually part of the problem. You think you're part of the solution because you know. No, you're part of the problem because you know and say nothing. And see, part of it, folks, is people don't know anything about technology. This is going to be the first show, and not in a continuous series like one after another after another. I'm going to mix things up here on the show, okay? But this is going to be the first show of many, many to come in the future where we talk about technology and actually how to do things hands-on. So this is going to be an unscripted. There's very few slides for this show. It's not a slide presentation this week, okay? It's me explaining what you actually have to do at your own computing device, and namely a desktop computer. I'm going to get into why they want to take desktop computing out of the hands of the public. They want you on an imbecile device called a cell phone or a tablet, okay? They want you on the mindless imbecile consumption device called a cell phone or a tablet because they don't want the horsepower and creative capacity of a full desktop system in the hands of the slave class, okay? That's why everything's moving to phones that are just total mindless consumer devices where people don't make any of their own original content on their own with it, and they just sit there gobbling up whatever mainstream media they want to vomit at people today. Okay? You have to understand you need legitimate computing resources at your disposal through a desktop computer or at least a semi-powerful laptop computer. Okay? And you have to understand certain protocols that have been around for a long time, actually. Okay? On the internet. How to get past censorship. This is what I'm going to actively teach people how to get around internet censorship today, for those who don't know it. And see, a lot of people are still tied to the web model, the client-server model. Okay? They don't understand that there's anything else on the internet. And I could show you, a lot of other areas of the internet that isn't web-based. Okay? At some point, I could show you how IRC works for file transfer. At some point I could show you Usenet for file transfer. Today, though, I'm going to focus on BitTorrent and the BitTorrent underlying technology, the protocol. And I'm going to explain to people what it is and actually how to use it and show you how to use it in real time. So what we're talking about here today, if we want to switch over to the slides. Well, first of all, I want to thank Brett Hatton for the graphics that he's been making. He's been doing a fantastic job. We can go over to the computer. He's been making these great graphics for me every week for the show. He made this nice 9th anniversary podcast show plaque, on a graphic. Phenomenal. And again, this is the 9th anniversary show. Again, yesterday was the actual anniversary on the 30th, but, today is the closest date that I'm doing a show, so we're celebrating it today. And, it feels like I've been doing this for 90 years, folks, and I'd have to reiterate, I think things were better when I started. People were more intelligent. They were more open-minded. They were less brainwashed and mind-controlled than they are today. People say, "Oh, we think the world's waking up." I don't know what people who see that see. I don't get, then other people will say it's just because I live in Philadelphia, a shit globalist leftist trash city, okay, full of fucking communists, okay, and that's the only reason, because these are the only people that are around here. I don't see it that way. I've traveled to places in the world. People will say, "Oh, I'm not, a savvy world traveler." I've traveled to enough places to see that basically wherever you go, people are just the same. They're still the same ignorant bags of shit that they are anywhere else. Okay? People want to take exception to that. You go right ahead and get as offended as you like. Okay? When you have studied and know as much as I do, and you've taken in vast amounts of knowledge like I have, you'll realize how ignorant people are. And people see the arc drive, and I've gotten many letters, people writing back to me saying, "I didn't know how ignorant I was until I received your arc drive." Okay? I didn't know how much I didn't know. Because that's the thing. People don't look deeply into stuff. They skirt the periphery. They want the sound bite. They want to go up to a web page and have some talking head tell them, "Oh, this is all you need to know." I'm trying to tell you, you can't get all you need to know from one podcast. You can't get it from a series of 204. Okay? You have to do your own digging and your own research, and that takes time and attention. It takes time of your life, and it takes your unwavering, focused attention that you have to take at the expense of other things that you might want to do in your life. You have to put those things on the back burner of your life and maybe never do them. And that's what no one wants to hear. They don't want to hear somebody tell them that you have to sacrifice, and you have to say, "I might not be able to do things that I wanted to do selfishly with my own life, with the time of my own life, because I have to make the time to really learn about what's really important to learn about what's going on in the world and what's going on within human beings." Nobody wants to hear that hard, harsh truth. It means you might not be able to serve yourself and spend the time that you want to do doing the things you want. That's what I keep telling people. That's why I'm a bitter person. I'm bitter about it. "Oh, you want me to do the same things that made you a better person?" Yeah, actually I do. Because maybe if more people did it, we would be able to have a lighter time of it. Again, the old saying, many hands make for light work. The problem is that there's so few people doing this. At this point, 9 years in, I thought there would be at least 1 million people doing as good of a job or better of a job than I do here on What on Earth is Happening. I could tell you, guess what, folks? There's still only one Mark Passio. And it's a shame to have to say that. It's a crying shame. Okay? There should be 1 million people doing what I do to this level or way better. And when I go on the internet and I look for them, I come back to my own videos. That's still where it's at. Okay? Because nobody will just come out and say it. Nobody will lay down the truth bombs like I'm dropping them every week here on What on Earth is Happening and saying it unapologetically. They're either too ignorant or too chicken shit. Okay? So, we were in a better position 9 years ago than we are today. And guess what? There's no excuse for it. I don't care what excuses you want to make for it. You can make all the excuses you want. There's no excuse for it. People have infinitely more resources at their disposal as far as computing technology is concerned. Websites, torrent sites, alternative areas of the internet. Way more researchers who are looking into this work and putting bits and pieces out there that can act as breadcrumb trails for what people really need to look into on their own. They're just not doing it because they're lazy. They're lazy and they want to just get a soundbite from another person and think they know. And that's not how it works. Doesn't work like that. Okay, you got to invest the time and you got to invest the attention. And see, part of the problem is people don't know where to go. They don't know how to mine the internet for the gold that's there. They don't know how to do it. You know, they're on Facebook thinking they're going to get their news from Facebook. They think they're going to get what they need to know from that bag of shit that we're simulcasting on. Okay? And then they think you're going to make the world better by trying to convince other people on Facebook with text comments. Yeah, with text comments. You know, you're going to change their worldview with a couple of lines of text on Facebook or Twitter. People are a bad fucking joke, is what they are by the way that they think. A bad joke. They don't understand the depth and breadth of knowledge that is going to be required to reverse this situation. You know, look, here's how I've been likening it to people before we jump into this material. Here's how I've been likening it for people, giving them a little analogy of what we're really up against. First of all, we're up against beings that are practically like gods. That's how advanced and intelligent they are as far as their complexity of understanding of the human condition and human psychology compared to the average idiot. Okay? You're up against master psychologists. It's like playing the most advanced chess master in the world when you've never even looked at a chessboard and you don't even know how the pieces move. You're going to get your ass crushed. In 20 seconds, in the first couple moves of the game, he's got you checkmated. Okay? You're not going to have any idea what's going on. And the game's already going to be won by the opponent.